Hello and welcome to Draw with Stacy. It is Friday and it's our non-live day. We are doing a Harry Potter doodle page. This is my second take because my first take I said like Harry Poodle. I don't even know. I got the words all mixed up. So started again. So we're going to do a doodle page today, which is when we typically are going to draw in ink. We're not going to do any color. I will upload this as a coloring page later in the day. In fact, I may not have done last week's now that I'm even thinking about it. But yeah, we're just going to kind of fill the page with some various Harry Potter items. Now, I have to admit, I am a fan of Harry Potter, but I haven't read all the books, and I don't actually think I've even seen all the movies. So I'm not going to be super knowledgeable on every single little item that we're drawing. But I'm gonna do my best. So let's just get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is get a pen that is not all frayed. I just realized mine was very frayed. And I am going to start with something very simple, and I'm just going to do Harry's glasses. So let's do 2 circles. And a little curve to connect them. And then the arms for the glasses will have one start up towards the top on this side. And this is going to start kind of more off the top of the glasses and be on this side. Now, you can make this all a little bit thicker if you like by just either going over your lines again, or when you go over your lines, try to go next to the line you created so you actually create a little bit of thickness. If you go right on top, you're going to have the same thickness. You're just going to make it a little bit darker. But you can go kind of right along the side of the line you created, and you can make it just a little bit thicker. So I'm doing that on all the lines. Now, since they're glasses, I'm just going to kind of do some little squiggly, scribbly shade lines within the glasses. And let's go ahead and put Harry's little scar at the top. So even though we're not drawing him, we're going to put that scar so we know that those are Harry Potter's glasses. Not that there would be any super doubts to that. Now, another thing I'm going to draw is a letter. So Harry receives multiple letters in the mail inviting him to Hogwarts. So I'm going to start with a rectangle. A long, skinny rectangle. And again, I'm doing this all straight in pen, so nothing's going to be absolutely perfect. I'm going to start here in the center with a little wavy circle. Because if you've seen this letter has a seal, right? And when you have a seal, it's made of wax and you stamp it, and it doesn't make a perfect circle. It makes kind of a slightly imperfect circle. And so we will put an H because it's addressed to Harry. And I'm going to do this like a letter I. So I'm doing a little line, a line down, and then a bigger line, a line in the middle, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side. And that just gives it that kind of fancier capital letter H. And this middle line actually curves up a bit. And now we can draw the corners of the envelope coming down to that seal. And then the corners of the actual letter where it's folded, or the other corners of the envelope, because this side, you know, if you have an envelope, it folds in on the bottom half. And you end up with that little letter. And you could even write something up above it, like do a dear Harry. Now, next, I am going to do a jar, a glass, I guess, of butterbeer. So one of the more popular things that they drink is this butterbeer. I actually got a chance to go to Universal Studios and have one. It was delicious. So I'm going to draw my jug of butterbeer. So I'm going to start with a little line. I'm going to do a curve down below. And up above, instead of doing a curve, I'm actually going to do a wavy, bubbly looking heap, because this is the butterbeer frothing inside of the glass. And I made this line small because I want to put a handle. So again, because I'm working in pen, I have to account for the things I'm going to add to the drawing. So from this little line, I'm going to curve out and back in about the same distance as if I made the line continue, it would connect. And then I can come down. I can curve it in slightly, and then bring this line down as well. And if it's not going to meet exactly, you can always extend the line on the bottom. To finish your handle, you'll put a line in the middle here, and see it doesn't connect on the top, it doesn't connect on the bottom, because you're going to do a line that comes around and connects. Now you have your handle. But I want to draw the beer inside, and I want to actually show some of this foam. So I'm going to do a line that comes straight down from the top of the glass. I'll leave some room at the bottom, curve that around. So I'm coming closer to the sides than I am at the bottom, because typically in these beer glasses, there's more glass at the bottom than there is at the top. And then I can put another line here inside. And if I add just a little bit of that frothy detail, those little scribble marks, then it ends up looking like the top of the beer and the actual butterbeer itself. Pretty simple. Now let's over here, let's put the broom. So we have, they all get these brooms that they ride on when they play in their Quidditch matches. So I'm going to start with a small curved edge rectangle. And then for the broom itself, I'll do a handle, and it's going to be in the middle, but I want some thickness to the handle. So some of it is going to, be a little bit above center. I'm going to come up, bring it up and out, so it has a little bit of angle to it right here. Those brooms never seem to be all that straight. I'll curve it and have it a little bit thicker at this end of the broom. And then same sort of thing, bring this up, out, and then it flares out so it meets up with that thickness of the end of the broom. And then I can do a teardrop shape. So I'm going to bring this out to the point, round it a bit, and bring it back around to another point. I'll put a little band here because brooms usually have one extra little band that's kind of tying them together. And you can put some little strings off of that, off of this one and one off of this one. And then within this broom, you can just add these faint, slightly scribbled, again, I always call it scribbled when you're just kind of lightly touching the paper lines. And then you have your little broom. Now, let's do another piece. I'm going to start here with a circle. And when Harry goes to the train station, there's a certain number in which he bursts through the wall, and it is 9 3/4. So I'm going to start by doing a slightly kind of oval shape. And then off of the back side of this oval, I'm going to do a line that comes down and curves forward, because that 9 is very kind of decorative. So I'm going to add a lot of thickness to this. So I'm going to add thickness back here off the back. So let's make this thicker. And it gets narrower down here at the end. But then here at the end of this 9, it has another lump. And then we have some thickness off this side. So you can color in. I'm going to color into this side a little bit to give it some thickness on that back side. Should be more narrow at the top and the bottom than it is on the two sides. Lots of good thickness on this back line. It gets thin, and then it has this fat end. So there's our 9. And then we can do the 3, number 3. Again, starting with it thick. And then I can add a little bit of curve there. Add some thickness on this back side. Thickness on this back side. And then a little bit of ball shape at the end here. A line coming underneath that 3. You can make that just a little bit thicker. And then the number 4 is going to come down. And then it's going to have a triangle. So you're going to come out. And you're going to come across. And then you want to make this 4 thicker. So I'm going to make this leg of the 4 the thickest point. Kind of flares out at the bottom. I'll thicken this up just a little bit. And then back here on the back, it flares out again. And again, it's not always going to be totally perfect. When you're doing this in pen, it's a little bit trickier. You know, if I was doing this in pencil, I actually would probably bring this circle a little tighter, not have as much room, and it would actually end up making it look a little bit more accurate. Also, right now, my number 9 is like bordering on looking like a letter G. But if you know that you're drawing Harry Potter, you know what you're drawing there, and it works. It ends up fitting. So another popular thing from Harry Potter is the wand. So I'm going to start with kind of a wavy rectangle. It's almost like a wavy hot dog shape, to be honest. A little less of a rectangle. I'm going to put a kind of curved mark on each side. I'm going to color this in, so I'm not too worried about it as far as pen goes, that I have this broken line. And then I'll have another curve here at the top. And I'm just going to do a bunch of kind of dashed lines within this shape. Now, you can actually color this in brown. And then we'll do the long line to more of a point and back in. And you can do those same kind of zigzaggy dashed lines down the end. And then to give that kind of magic look off of it, I'm just going to do this little kind of curved, pointy shape. And I'll do 2 of them. I'll do one, and then I'll follow the shape a little bit bigger, as if there's like magic flowing over the wand. And you can even do some little lines out to the side. Let's put our flying key. So for the flying key, I'll also put it down here. I'm going to start with a long, skinny rectangle. I got that a little wonky. I'm going to do a little small rectangular tip up here above the top. And I can actually make this wonky line work because I need the bottom half of my key. So it's just going in, out, and back in. So it's like a square, but then you're putting this little box inside of it. I'm going to connect the outer side of the key. So curve all the way around. I can put a circle up at the top of my key. Now for the inside, I actually need to break it up again because I'm working in pen here. So I don't want to start it up at the top of this curved line. I'm going to come a little bit inside and I'm going to come down. I'm going to make a little bump and then I'm going to come down again, not quite touching up with the line. And then I'll repeat that on the other side. Down, bump, down. I'll take this and curve this around. And then on this side, curve it around. So I have my key, but I need to make it a flying key. So I'm going to add some kind of butterfly wings to it. So I'm going to do, it's almost like a teardrop shape. I'm going to come out, curve down, come back in. So it's like kind of triangular, but with a curved corners. Out, curve down, come back in. I'll do 2 little wings off the bottom, which are just going to be little hot dog tips down here below. And then I'm going to add some trim, just a couple little bump, 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 wavy lines. This side too, bump, 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 wavy lines. Some here that are more drastic, bump, bump, bump. Same on this side, bump, bump, bump. And then the lines will connect. So notice how I connected the bump from here to the bump from here to the key. And then I'll do one more right here, connecting in, and then that just gives it that wing look. You could do a little curved line inside this little wing and a couple little lines inside. And then you have your flying key. Now you could color all this in gold, color the wings in so they look more like wings. You have lots of different options there. Let's do a little potion bottle. So I'm going to start here with a cork, which is really just going to be a little square. I'll have a line that cuts through this and then curves in, curves in. And where it curves in, it actually kind of lines up with the bottom of the cork. I'm going to bring these in just a little bit closer, but I don't want them to touch the cork. I want some room. And now I'm going to come down so it has this long neck. Down on this side. And then I'll curve it out to make that potion bottle shape. You can add some little dots to your cork. And the reason we have the line going through the cork is because it's a glass cork. It's a glass bottle. So you would see the cork sticking inside and you would see the line of the glass cutting across it. So that's why we didn't like account for the cork and like break that line. We actually want that line to be there. And then you could put a line across the bottle here and a line across the bottle here. On the inside of this bottle, again, inside from the line, I'm going to do a wavy line that comes just shy on both sides, and then it'll come out to that label. Pretend like you're drawing through, pick it up on the other side, and come through the other side. So now we've put our liquid in the bottle. We could still do a little curved line down here for like the back side of the bottle that we would see, and maybe a little line here for the shadow of the neck of the bottle. But you could write anything you want on this label. So maybe this is dragon. tiers. Anything you want your bottle to contain, that is what you would put on that outside. You know what, I'm going to add to this, and I'm going to do another circle inside this circle, and that's going to make it work a little bit better. There. See, that looks better already. So let's do one of the ties. Now you can make this Harry's tie, you can make it someone else's tie. It's totally up to you. Depends on how you color it, what group you're doing. So let's do a line that comes across, lines that angle in, another line that comes across to connect that. From these bottom corners, you'll do a line that angles out. It's not going to be super drastic, but a little bit of a line. And then it angles back down on each side and connects. You can have a little bit of the side of the necktie. So just above this point, I'm going to do a line coming out, a line angling outwards a little, and then a line coming back in. Same on the other side, just above that point, a line coming out, a line angling out a little, and then a line coming back in. And then we can add our stripes. So depending on what house you prefer, that is how you will color your tie. I'll do lines across this collar piece as well. And then you have your necktie. Let's do the other glasses. So I'm going to put two circles. And then from those circles, you're going to do two lines that are between them, but don't touch. You don't want to touch this lens. And you're going to come out and around over here. And then these will go off into these little fun hot dog shapes. So you'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. Come back around and connect. Same on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back around and connect. And inside of these, I'm going to just do little spirals. Now you can also do some of the fun little stars. We've done these before. I mean, you're doing magic, so you're kind of just doing these curved stars. We did this last week on our space where you come, you curve up, you curve back out, you curve down, and you curve back over. And you could do some of various sizes. You could put those all over your page. You can draw a Quidditch ball. I'm going to start with the wings. So let's put a tiny little line. I mean, that's pretty small. Tiny little curved line. Come out, curve up, go into a point, come back down. So I want this one to be on the front side, which is why I drew that first. I'm going to put some lines in it. Now you will draw your ball shape. And then this is on the back. So I'm just going to curve this up here as if it's flying. Bring it back around and in. And then put the lines through the drawing, through the wings. Adds a little texture. And then for the shape, you have these curved lines that come out from the bottom. I'm gonna just have some towards the middle. Some curl on each side. And then a little bit of lines up at the top as well. What else shall we do? How about we do a couple floating candles? I'll pull my page out. So let's just do some long skinny rectangles. Now these don't have to be perfectly straight. In fact, you kind of want a little wave to them. So I'm going to do a little bit of curve. Come down. It's not a perfectly straight line. It has a little bit of wave. Curve the bottom and then connect it. Number one. Let's do another one. Curve the top, down the side, curve the bottom, and you can see I've put some wave into these. I want to do some dripping, so I'm just coming down into the shape as if the candle is dripping. You can put as much dripping as you want. And then I'll do a little teardrop shape for the flame, which is the little line that goes inside of the flame a little bit and connects to the candle. Into the flame and connects to the candle. We can freehand our triangle, angle out, out, connect those two lines, have a line down the middle. And then inside this shape, you're drawing a circle. That roughly touches all sides. Again, when you're freehanding something like this, you're going to end up with a little bit of wonk. But what do? We just embrace the wonk. What else could we put in here? Let's see. We could do another kind of like his scar, but just do more of a lightning bolt. So we're coming up from a point, angling out, a line in, a line back out. This line now comes up, and it's going to come up higher than this line right here. So see how it's higher? Bring it in, and then bring it back up. If it's not connecting with your line, like mine isn't, I'm going to force it to connect by just extending that line right there. You could also draw a little bit of the scarf. So how about down here? We'll do a little bit of a wavy line. We'll bring it across. Have this come across. Have it come back down. You could add a little bit of the back curving up. And then we'll do the scarf as if it's tied around the neck. So a curved line coming out, down, back in, getting narrower here. And then another one that builds off below that, because when you wear a scarf, right, you have a side that's kind of to the back and then the one that's to the front. We can put some fringe on the ends of that, fringe on the ends of this, and then we can put our stripes. Across. We'll put some in the back. So when I'm coloring this, these that are in the back, I would actually color them darker than the ones in the front. You can even take your pen and just do a little bit of shading lines, even in the one that's a little bit lighter. And that will just naturally make that back space a little bit darker, so it gives you some dimension. And you can do the same even on the scarves. You could put a little bit of these little hash marks, and that will naturally give you some shading when you color it in. And then really, I would just fill this in maybe with all the different character names. You could, put any of your favorite characters in. Harry Potter, Snipe. Of course, now I'm not thinking of a single name because I'm under pressure to do so. But you could fill in all the different characters that you loved from the book on the page. I'm going to do one last little thing, try and fit it in right in here. We're going to do a little bit of that logo. So I'm going to put a curved line. This is what happens when I draw late at night, is I get even more forgetful. So I'm doing kind of a rectangle shape, but I'm flaring it out a little bit at the top and a little bit at the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up coloring a lot of this black. So it's okay if I don't have to make room for any other lines or anything like that. I'm going to do another one that starts a little higher and comes down a little lower. Wesley, that's another character. I can't think of a single name this evening. I'm like completely in blank zone. And then there's going to be a line that comes out, crosses, and comes up. Okay. Now, like I said, we don't really have to make room for that, because what we're going to do is we're going to add some thickness to this. We'll color this in black. This is how my pen gets frayed. If you color too much with the pens, they'll start to fray on you. I'll add a little bit of almost like we do with the circle of light. I'm going to add a long oval of light here, a little bit on the bottom, and I'll color all the rest of that in black. You're basically just adding a little bit of reflection in the lettering. That's really what a circle of light is, even in the eyes. It's just a little bit of reflection within the eye. So see how I did that? A little bit of reflection in there. I'll do the same over here. A little bit on the top, a little bit below. Color the rest in black. You could put little characters on the page. You could draw the owl. You could draw a lot of the other different little animals that are in Harry Potter. There's lots of symbols. You could draw the book. You could draw the sorting hat, would be amazing. We can't always fit all the things, but this gets you started. So for the P has that lightning bolt on it. So I'm going to start about the same height as this H, and I'm going to come down, go out, down, out, down, and then I'm going to come back up, point down, up, down, up. This is going to come across, come down a little bit, and then that P has a little bit of angle to it. So I'm going to angle up, out, down, angle in, and back up. To the inner part, angle up, down, in. And then I want a little bit of reflection in here too. So I'm going to put a little bit right there, a little bit right there, a little bit right there, a little over here, and then just a little circle of it in some random spaces. And then I'll color the rest of this in. And when you're coloring in, remember, it's almost better to start a little bit more narrow, a little smaller than you think you need to be, because since you're coloring it in black, you can always thicken everything. You know, if I need this thicker, I would just extend the line out because I'm coloring it all in anyway. So it's almost better to start just a little bit smaller than you think you might need. So that way it's easier to make it bigger if you need, because you can't make it smaller, right? If you make it too big, especially because you're working in pen, you can't make it smaller, but you can always make it bigger. I'm going to leave that little reflection right there. And that works pretty well. I might make this just a little bit bigger. So it matches up a little bit more with the sizing of the letter H. And there we go. That's a good start for a Harry Potter doodle page. Like I said, you could do lots of more little magic symbols. You could do your monster book. You could do the sorting hat. You could definitely draw more wands. You could write a lot of the different potion sayings on here. You could write a lot of the different character names. You could draw the owls or some of the other animals, the snake that the characters have. So you really can just kind of have fun with it and fill in all the space. Another really cool thing would be to just kind of in the background color this swooping shadow, like your potion bottle is letting off steam. So I might do this like pink hue that's kind of swirling in the background, almost like it's a little bit toxic in the back, like some magic has been released. So there you go. I hope you had fun today with the Harry Potter doodle page. I can't wait to see what you guys add to yours. We didn't do any characters today. We've done a couple Harry Potter characters. We will do more down the road. This was more about doing some of the other little extra things that are in Harry Potter. And you definitely want to upload your drawings so I can see them on the page. I love checking out and seeing what you do. Don't forget to write your name on them. You can load them directly into the group, or you can add them into an album, or you can share them with me on Instagram. And we will be back live on Saturday night for our sip and draw. So thank you very much. I hope you guys had fun and happy drawing.